and welcome to City Scene with Mayor Mike Cahill. I'm your host, Walt Kosmowski, and surprise, the mayor and I are not in the studio. We are live at Lynch Park.
We are.
Where the mayor has just dedicated the Teddy Royce Fish Splash Pad a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And the mayor is going to be taking us on a whirlwind tour of some of the new infrastructure development and some of the new projects around town that have been unfolding during his administration. And Mike, I think one of the first things, you want to talk a little bit about the splash pad first?
Sure, well that's, you got it, right? You got the ribbon cutting. I don't want to repeat everything except to say that a lot of people put in a lot of time to make this happen, not least of whom is Bruce Doig, the Director of Community Services, who wrote the grant, went after the money from the state, the money that helped us build a new play structure right here, and across the sidewalk, the new splash pad. And you can see already that it's a huge hit. Kids are going to enjoy this all summer long,
Absolutely.
Probably well into the fall.
And one big thing, Mike, I think if our viewers can probably see in the distance behind us, tell us a little bit about the new bathrooms, which everybody has been waiting
Absolutely.
for.
Well, as I've said many times, you know, I've run for mayor twice, and in 2011 and 13, all I kept hearing about was sidewalk, streets, and bathrooms at Lynch Park, Dane Street, and Aubert. So, you know, we've been working hard for the last year plus to try to get the funding together and the work done on these projects. That new bathhouse, we're still trying to get it open by the end of this week for the weekend of July 4th. We'll see if we hit that, but either way, it'll be open very soon, and it's going to be a vast improvement over what was there. It's a brand new facility, and it's something that we'll enjoy for years to come, because whether it's Lynch, whether it's Dane Street, whether it's Aubert, if you don't have quality facilities, a lot of people just can't take advantage of the space.
Yep.
Can't come and enjoy the park, can't come and enjoy the beach if they can't rely on restroom facilities and shower facilities to take care of their needs.
Yeah. And certainly by looking at what we have done here, what the city has done here, this is phenomenal. It's just crowded with kids. Well, I just want to remind our viewers that the mayor will be taking us on a little tour of the city here in the next half hour. And we'll view firsthand some of these development projects and some of these infrastructure improvements. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. And hi, we're back. And this time the mayor and I are standing here in front of Lynch Park. And Mike, I know that our viewers out there should know that the budget for repavement and work like that, city infrastructure work, was increased last year, and you had a lot to do with allocating that money. Tell us about what's been done, and maybe give us an example here along Aubert Street.
Sure. First, I just want to make sure everybody knows that they can go to the city website for lots of things. We were just talking about what's going on at Lynch Park and the excitement of the new splash pad and playground structure, but we have a whole menu of community-wide activities going on this summer, and those can be most easily found by going to www.beverlyma.gov. It's Beverly, MA for Massachusetts.gov. And on the Rec Department website, you can click to Rec Department, and it'll tell you all that's going on down here and how people can access it. As far as transportation work, you can also go to the website, beverlyma.gov, and then on the home page, to the right-hand side, there are 6 big drop-down or big boxes. One of them's projects. We'll talk now for the next couple minutes about some of those road work projects. As you can see, we have redone Aubert Street. That was a project that we really took on last year, was completed before winter, and you can see the improved sidewalks and a new road surface. We are now paving streets all over Beverly, and we also are rebuilding sidewalks with a lot of those streets. The work is staged. I mean, right now we're doing a new sidewalk on Cole Street, Cole off of Essex Street near the Y. That's long needed a sidewalk. It's a very heavily trafficked road with no sidewalk, and for those residents, we've always been concerned. So we're building a sidewalk there, and typically with road work, what they do is they cold plane the road. They take the pavement out and go down to the dirt underneath. And then what you can do is you can put in the curbing, whether it's granite curbing, which we use right around the downtown because it's so much more expensive. We'll use the granite curbing around the downtown and on some main routes like getting to and from Lynch Park is a place.
Right.
But in a lot of neighborhoods of necessity, we use the pavement berms. And so, for example, on Cole Street, they're going to be putting in sidewalk and pavement berms. And once those are in, then we can repave the whole street. So it's sidewalk work and then repaving. That'll be going on along Essex Street, for example, from Montserrat train station down to Cole Street. It's Cole Street along the sidewalk. We've got some work going on in Ryleside and North Beverly, down the farms, really all over town, downtown on Washington Street. So there's a lot happening. If people aren't sure when the work's going to happen in their neighborhood or when the work's going to happen on some of those main streets that they travel often, they can check to the city website and it will be updated weekly. So it's worth checking in on the website. If you have questions and you can't get to the website, you can always call my office. And I know I'll ask you folks to put the number up on screen
it'll be up there right now
as you get this ready to go. So yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about that. So if you want to know if you want to know what is happening to a certain street, whether it's being repaved or where it stands in the pecking order, you can go on the city website and you can get that information. So
right, and so we have a list of the streets that are being funded in this fiscal year. So it's the rest of this year into the fall, and some of it will happen next spring, just as it's ordered up. We have been able to dedicate just about $3 million again this year to road and sidewalk work, and that's a combination of our Chapter 90 funds, which come back to us from the state, and our local appropriation. We go year to year, and there may be a year in the near future where we can't put as much money into roads, but last year and again this year we're putting just about $3 million in each year. Just to give you a sense, we have about 150 miles of roads in Beverly. In order to improve all of them, if we were to try to improve all of them this year, the price tag would be, and this is very much of a ballpark, but it would be in the $35 to $40 million range. So we're not able to get to everything. We've tried to prioritize based on an objective system of rating the condition of the roads and factoring into that work that needs to be done under the roads. Sometimes a road isn't right at the top of the list for worst condition, but we need to modernize or put in a new water line or sewer line underneath the road, so that kind of bumps it higher up on the list. But we're trying to do it in a very objective way, and we can't ever get to all the roads at one time, but the hope is to do as much each year as we can to improve the city all in all. The other piece is there's road preservation work that our DPW is doing, the crack and seal work that they contract out. Some of what we call grind and inlay. You can find some stretches of road that aren't in the greatest shape, and our own DPW can go out with their team and they can grind out that piece of road and do an inlay and seam it up just right so that road might last another 10 years, where if they didn't do that, it just deteriorates year by year.
Well, very good. Mike, thank you for bringing us up to date on the situation with road improvements here in Beverly. And stay tuned, and we are off to our next stop with Mayor Mike Cahill. Well, hi, we're back with Mayor Mike Cahill, and as you can see, we're in front of the Beverly Public Library. And Mike, this building certainly has had a lot of much needed improvement done. Can you tell us a little bit about where we stand with the library?
Sure. The library project, which has been going on for a few years, is just about complete. These front steps have not been open for a couple of years, as you know.
That's right.
They were rebuilt, and so now people can access the library from the front as well as the side on Winter Street. Very exciting time. I mean, the library was initially expanded it was right about 1990-ish, and there've been some challenges with drainage and leakage in the roof, so these repairs were very much needed. And our library is an incredible resource. We're part of the North of Boston Library Exchange.
The Noble Network,
people can access books from all over the region and have them delivered here to Beverly, and we participate in both directions on that.
Yeah, and I understand that there was some severe flooding issues in the basement of the library that we had to take care of.
There had been for years, and that's a part of this project, as I said, that's been going on for a few years now and is just wrapping up. Was new roofs. A part of it was kind of regrade and improve so that the drainage would work better and try to eliminate the flooding. I do want to, while we're here in front of the library, just touch on the summer entertainment that is in Beverly now. It's very exciting. We've for years had Thursday night concerts on the Common right across the street at the bandstand, and those are continuing this summer. And then on Sunday nights, we've got the concerts at Lynch Park that run from now through about the middle of August. So on Thursday and Sunday nights, we had live music and entertainment. Last year, the library added a Wednesday night in the courtyard. So that's right around the corner in the Winter Street courtyard. Wednesday night concert series at the library. and then a Friday night concert series at Ellis Square down the street. So
yep.
we now have 4 nights a week all summer long. We have live music as entertainment for the community. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wait a minute. I'm going to get it wrong. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
Excellent.
So 4 of our 7 nights we have live music in the community for the next couple of months.
A lot of good activities for the citizens of Beverly to participate in. Now let me ask you one thing. The monies that we spent on the library, was that all city money, or did we get some kind of subsidy or any kind of grants or anything for that?
It was a combination, but we certainly from the city side did have to bond for the work, and that's it's part of the capital improvements that are ongoing in a community. Between all of our municipal buildings, our school buildings, our parks and beaches, our road surface, our water and sewer infrastructure, that's the capital in the community that we need to continually invest in, and we've done it with this as well.
Now let me ask you this. I want, since we touched on grants, you made a call in your administration to put on a person who would be a grants administrator, and I think that's borne such great fruit. Tell us a little bit about the success of that particular department in your administration.
Sure. Well, we hired a director of grants, and it was important that we not hire a grant writer, because you can only get so much done with a grant writing position. We set the position up so that the person would spend no more than about 30% of their time actually researching and drafting grants. But they would be a support to the many different city and departments in the school department and some of the local volunteer and nonprofit groups to really try to maximize the capacity of the whole community to access grant funding.
Right.
Beverly is a community that doesn't get the easy public money. Communities that have greater challenges economically and socioeconomically qualify for some of those, I say, easier pots of government money, for example. But we have real need in Beverly. The need doesn't approach the level of a Lynn or a Brockton or a Lawrence, but it's real need. So Beverly needs to be a little more creative, a little more aggressive, a little more nimble in how we identify and go after grants. I knew that when we created the position, the hire would be the key. Getting the right person, because it's a one-person department.
That's right.
The right person is critical to making it work, and we really have not just lucked out, but we've hit a grand slam in hiring Susan Richmond, who came to us from a career at Boston College in grant writing and development administration, and she's been fantastic over the last year.
And share with our viewers a number. Can you give them a number of how much we have gotten in grant
No, because you're putting me on the spot. I'll tell you what. By the time you edit and put this up, you can run it on the screen.
Run it on the screen. Okay.
A couple of numbers, because she's only been in the position for about 9 months. We hired her in September, and some of the applications, for example, we haven't heard on yet.
Yeah.
Last year before we had her, we applied for Community Development Block Grant, something that the city had received numerous times over the years, but hadn't even applied for in about 5 or 6 years. We applied for it without her professional help and didn't receive it. She came on board, we applied for it again, but we won't find out until August, for example. Other grants we definitely have succeeded in securing. Then there are grants that some of our departments had gotten, but the collection of data and the reporting on it, if it's done well enough, can get you that same grant the next time around. Gotcha. But if it's not done well, it's a one and done type of dynamic. So we'll get you that information, and I think it'll get better and better as we go.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, shall we head on to our next location?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do that. And we're back with Mayor Mike Cahill, and Mike and I are standing now on Brimble Avenue near the old connector road between Brimble and Sawyer, which is getting a big makeover. And Mike, why don't you take it from there and tell us what's happening?
Sure. So as people can be oriented, Victoria Rocky's right behind us, and this is Brimble Ave. The general contractor just knocked off for the day about 10 minutes ago, but we've got our city crew down there doing a little more work. So this is a $5 million road project that was funded by the state through an economic development grant.
Right.
Everybody remembers that conversation. So this is where you get off the highway at Sawyer Road and coming northbound, people coming to Brimble, coming to the music theater, coming to Montserrat. And we're getting a new connector road with a roundabout at the bottom and a roundabout at the top, improvements in widening of Brimble Ave, and a traffic signal at the corner of Herrick Street Extension in Brimble.
Right.
So it's an exciting project. It's going to really greatly improve safety at these intersections by Victoria Rocky and down at the bottom by Sawyer by replacing those T intersections with stop signs and dangerous left turns across lanes of traffic.
Which we know very well.
And so, and those intersections have been functioning at failing levels. If you grade, and the state grades our intersections, they're failing levels. Once this improvement is done, all of these intersections are going to be, mostly are going to be A grade, and I think one will be a B+ grade, but they'll all be much, much improved. And the goal is to move traffic more effectively, more safely, and to be able to accommodate increased traffic flow, which we know will come in the future with some of the economic investment that's happening along this corridor.
Right. And I know that some of the people may wonder, because I get the question a lot, that this particular construction here has nothing to do with the so-called Whole Foods development project. This is simply a connector which has to be finished before that even starts. Correct, Mike? Tell us about that.
They're different projects. You know, as I said, this road is being funded by the economic development folks at the state level because they believe that improving this roadway is a necessary step to being able to support the type of traffic that more economic investment will bring. I mean, we know that there's an attempt right now to redevelop Roller Palace and Soccer, et cetera, to a skilled, short-term skilled nursing facility. By the way, if that happens, it won't even happen for at least another year. So the people who own the Roller Palace want everyone to know that they'll be open for business for at least another year. But if that were to happen, that would, you know, bring additional jobs and activity to that site. We know that Leahy North Beverly Hospital is interested in increasing capacity on their campus, the hospital campus. And so we know that there will be more investment and more jobs brought to this area, which is good for the city. In order to support that, we need the roadway to be able to support some additional level of traffic.
And do you want to talk a little bit, Mike, about, we're facing 128 here and sort of off on our right shoulder, there are future plans to do another interchange there. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and what economic impact that may have?
This project is meant to be Brimble Ave Phase 1, right? And Phase 2 would be building the new interchange and overpass kind of at the far edge of where the rest stop is on the highway and going across to the music theater. You know, we are looking right now at trying to approve and site a solar array on our old landfill right up along the highway that would bring significant revenues to the city annually for the next 20 years. Because a solar array would be built, they would lease the site. And that funding would be funding that we would look to use to help seed the cost of this Phase 2 reconstruction because what we need, in order to support the increased jobs that are going to take place along Dunham Road and in this area, we need to be able to pull some of the traffic off of Brimble Ave. So, for example, Cummings has, who owned the big business park down that used to be the old Shoe, Cummings Properties. They bought the old Parker Brothers Hasbro worldwide headquarters on Dunham Road, and they're trying to bring a good number of jobs there. And so, you know, we'll need that overpass and interchange to service them, the music theater, other parcels like that the Mastronzi brothers own up there, so that type of investment can happen there and more jobs created along that stretch.
So getting back to the interchange here, this redesigned interchange, so we're standing here, it's almost July 1st. What's your prediction as to when this construction will be done, Mike?
Well, the hope is that most of this work will take place before winter, and then there may be some finished work done in the spring. But it's a full year project. And I do need to say, in talking with a couple of the Beverly patrolmen who were just here before we pulled up, you know, doing detail work, they said they're very concerned with the speed at which people are coming up and down the road, even at points where there's only one lane of traffic and they have to take their time. People are still coming through too fast. Now, the law says that any speeding fines, violations, there you go. And any moving violations, speeding fines in a construction zone are double the fine. And so, you know, we're concerned about that, and we will definitely be bringing some enforcement out here, and there'll be increased enforcement on this stretch. We want everybody to be safe. The construction workers, our police doing details, motorists moving in both directions. It is important, safety first with anything like this. So please, as people move up and down the street. And I want to say also, as I said earlier, with construction in Beverly, our website is a good place to look. We update it weekly, beverlyma.gov, and then there's a box on the bottom right for projects. Go right to that, and we'll have weekly updates on all these projects and what to expect. For example, the other day they had to close the Connector Road entirely for one stretch of one day. Very few times will that happen, But if if people are going to use this corridor, daily or in any time they might want to go online and just check and see what's happening that week.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for that, Mike. And the mayor has asked us to make one more stop on our tour today, so we'll see you there in just a moment. And here we are on our last stop on our whirlwind tour with Mayor Mike Cahill. And this location has a little bit of a nostalgia value to our mayor, and I'll let him tell you exactly where we are. Mike?
Oh, we're at what we always call Girl Scout Pond, also known as Camp Paradise, where Cole Street meets Foster Street in Centerville. And the city is about to close on purchasing this property thanks to another park grant that Bruce Doig at Community Services was able to secure for us, combination of the grant funding and some community preservation funds. And we will take ownership of this property in the next couple of weeks.
How much area do we have here, Mike?
It's about 12 acres.
12 acres.
And I mentioned that I know this place because I grew up playing hockey right here on Girl Scout Pond.
Yeah.
Many hours of fun.
Yeah, and now there are some structures on the property. Tell us about those.
Well, I think you got a shot of it. There's a newer building about 10 years old that the Girl Scouts have used. That's a great resource for us to use. Our rec department will take over responsibilities for managing and running this property, and we'll bring some of our rec activities down here, both adult activities and kids. And during the school year, we'll make it available to our public school kids for some outdoor science classroom type of work, as well as I said, using the building itself and the space inside.
Fantastic acquisition for the city, I think, right?
Oh, it's great.
And the monies for this came partly from, tell us exactly where the monies came from.
Well, yes, partly from the park fund, which is state grant funding for active recreational use, and part from the Community Preservation Act funds that we all pay through our property taxes.
Well, this has been quite a whirlwind tour with Mayor Cahill. And Mike, you have some closing thoughts here on what we've seen today, and maybe some other things that we haven't seen, and maybe some thoughts for our viewers.
Well, first, thanks to you, Walt, and your team. You guys always do such great work for the community, and to get out and see what's going on is helpful. This is the summer season. There's a lot going on. We've got construction going on all around town, and I appreciate people's attention to safety and their patience with the work we're doing that will all help the community in the longer run, and help traffic move when you talk about the road projects. Three things. First is that school is out as of today. That means that all the school kids in Beverly, about 4,500 kids in the Beverly Public Schools and then more in the private schools, are no longer going to be in school 6 to 7 hours a day. They're going to be on their bikes. They're going to be on foot. They're going to be moving around town. They're going to be heading to and from the parks and the beaches and to their friends' houses. And we really need for everybody to pay attention to the fact that kids are out there all day long. And we need for people to be safe in how they drive and attentive. We don't want anyone to get hurt. We want this to be an enjoyable, fun summer season. To that same point, there are all kinds of activities available to people of all ages in Beverly. Please go to our website, beverlyma.gov. Please call my office if you have any questions. With summertime, hopefully the weather will be perfect every day. A little bit of rain between midnight and 5 a.m.
That's okay.
Clearing up for a nice sunny day in the high 70s to mid 80s with no humidity. But we know that it won't exactly be like that. So if there's any if we get a heat wave, if people are concerned about their safety or their neighbors' safety, particularly some of our seniors living alone, please check on your neighbors. Please call us. Please make sure that people are safe throughout the course of the summer.
Well said, Mike. Now, you and I will also be seeing each other pretty quickly or another taping. You want to talk about that?
Sure, and that's the next thing. Our annual homecoming celebration kicks off right at the end of July and runs for about 10 days through the first week in August, and we'll try to get together and preview what's coming. And then I know that you'll be covering a lot of those events when they do arrive in August. It's going to be a great summer. I look forward to it.
Very good. Mayor Mike Cahill, thank you very much.
Thanks, Walt.
And I'd like to remind our viewers that you have been watching City Scene with Mayor Mike Cahill. I'm your host, Walt Kosmowski, and we'll see you next time.